How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the One Stop Podcast. I'm Jesse with Provide and Michael, and we're going to get into some big NBA news that happened yesterday and today. So let's start off first with the Suns and Lakers blowout. As a Lakers fan myself, watching the game, it was honestly torment. It was torture because it was the worst game of the season for us. A lot of players didn't. They gave up. It looked like they gave up. Honestly, there was no heart. There was no hustle. There was no urgency, and as a fan of basketball and as a fan of the Lakers, that honestly hurt me to the bone. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
For me, I think it was all about the Suns. I know AD was out, but the Suns they deserved that win for sure. I think even if AD was there, if they played how they did, they would have still won that. And it was even Chris Paul. What quarter you get hurt in the third? He
Yeah,
went out for a while.
third.
Cam Payne came in and looked like he was like a starter. He played insane. He was going by LeBron every time. That was the biggest thing that stuck out to me for LeBron's game. He just campaign, this guy who was like out of the league like a couple months ago, is just blowing by LeBron every time he gets it. And I mean, Devin Booker still doing what Devin Booker does in the playoffs. And it just looked like all the Lakers players struggled. So I, if AD's out next game, I think it's an easy Suns win.
Yeah, I just think the biggest thing, honestly, like you said, Michael, was just effort. And Jesse, I'm sure as a Lakers fan, it must have been frustrating to watch. But I don't know. I mean, you saw like there was a play where LeBron missed a shot or someone took a shot. LeBron didn't agree with it. And you could just see him in the replay walking back on defense. And then Torrey Craig gets an easy dunk. Um, the effort just wasn't there last night. I know, obviously, the game changes a lot when you don't have someone as great as Anthony Davis. But I still think there was a lot that could have been done. You still have LeBron James and players who can make shots, but I felt like yesterday was just one of those nights for the Lakers where it wasn't falling, and the Suns took advantage of it. They looked good, and Booker showing why he's one of the best players in the league. Ayton again played consistent minutes, looked great, and for the Suns, they're one game away now. So if they keep this up, it's hard to imagine they won't come out on top. But LeBron and the Lakers, even if AD doesn't come back for Game 6, they've got to figure something out, and I think that starts with the effort.
Coming into Game 5, honestly, I was expecting like a big time performance from LeBron, like that he was going to come out attacking. He wasn't going to look to pass, and that for the beginning of the first quarter, that was the part. That was it. That was it. He made his first 3 shots. He looked aggressive. He put his head down and was putting his shoulder into people, driving to the lane, just like good old LeBron. But then somewhere along like that first quarter, when like a couple turnovers started piling up, his whole body language changed, and I think that was a result of the whole team as well, because everyone else wasn't as focused or wasn't like on point with everything in the offense and the defense. My thing with defense is you can control what you want on defense. You can't control what you want on offense. Like lack of shot making, that's you can't control that. The shot goes in or it doesn't go in. But defense, that's an effort type of thing. And with the Lakers on defense yesterday, especially in the second quarter, it wasn't there. Now I give credit to Phoenix, especially to Booker, because him on the perimeter is a scary sight, especially in the high pick and roll when you're playing with someone like against someone like Marc Gasol, who's not as mobile, or Andre Drummond, who he is mobile but also like a standing tower. You're gonna get the better part of him majority of the time. But the one that stuck out to me the most was Dennis Schroeder.
Mm-hmm.
0 points, 0 for 9 from the field, 0 for 4 from three, 4 rebounds. Like that's just unacceptable. And especially if you're demanding a 9-figure contract and then you already turned down a 4-year 84 extension midway during the season, it's unacceptable. Totally unacceptable.
To me, this Lakers team without Anthony Davis is looking like the 2018 Cavs, I think, when it was LeBron and everyone else, like all the other good players were hurt like this team, and it was just him doing everything and the supporting cast wasn't doing anything. But that year he willed them to the play or to the finals, and I don't think it'll happen this year. Just the if especially if Schroeder gets 0 points, like what he's out there doing nothing. But and KCP's injury was big. in the game before, and he still didn't look the same. And he's an underrated part of their offense for sure, I think. Like, people don't really expect him to do anything, but he spreads the floor really well. He plays defense really well. He does a little bit of everything. So I would say Suns in 6. What do you guys think?
I'm still gonna go. Oh, this is tough now because after what I saw last night, and I don't know. I think it really depends on Anthony Davis's health. If Anthony Davis isn't back for Game 6, I can't see the Lakers winning. I can see it being close, and I think it will be close. But I just, as of right now, if Anthony Davis doesn't come back, I'm gonna say Suns in 6. But assuming Anthony Davis is able to come back, I'm gonna go with something bold. I'm gonna go Lakers in 7 because I still believe in playoff Braun. I can't imagine him being exited in the first round. I just can't see it. But I think it depends if AD comes back. So that's where I stand on that. But most likely, with the way things are going, it's probably going to be Suns in 6.
Well, how are you speaking of injuries? And the Suns got themselves a key injury too, and Chris Paul. I don't know, me personally, I thought Chris Paul looked really good in Game 4 and Game 5. But once that little bump of the shoulder to his shoulder, it's going to be hard. But like you said, but then campaign, you got to play that into mind that he also been balling out this whole series on the Lakers. So who would have thought, okay, campaign would be filling in Chris Paul's shoes?
Yeah.
Well, I told you this in the season. But I honestly don't think AD is going to play. Not after a groin injury like that, because they said during his shooting round he didn't look good at all. He was still hobbling. So honestly, I think AD's done for this series. We go what we got, and I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna be a realist. I do believe in playoff LeBron, but just from what the Suns have been doing, and just the fact that the Suns are just momentum is on their side, they might finish it on us. But if Frank Vogel can get his rotations correct by inserting Montrezl Harrell more, then maybe there's a chance. Because what the Lakers are lacking is points in the paint and energy, and Montrezl Harrell is that person.
All right, let's move to the next series. I'd say pretty easily game of the year so far. Nuggets Blazers. Dame drops 55, goes to double overtime, and they lose. So I think let's start off with a question. Is Dame the clutchest in the league? I'm going yeah.
Yeah. I think last night, we've already seen him do it so many times. He has 2 playoff series enders. Like, I don't know about any other player in NBA history that has him. Or 3 now. Yeah, so the guy is ridiculous, but at last night just solidified it for me. I mean, he didn't just do it once, he did it twice, and he could have done it 3 times maybe. I don't know if CJ McCollum didn't step out, but the guy's crazy. And he broke Klay Thompson's record last night for threes in a playoff game. Yeah, I'm going to have to say he's the clutchest. Last night was just – it's ridiculous. He keeps doing it over and over again. What more can you ask from him?
Yeah, Dame. I mean, if you got your own celebration, Dame time, and you're recognized for it, you're the clutchest guy. Dude can – you know what the funny thing is? The defenses are doing? He does the same – it's just like kind of Harden. He does the same move, but they let him go right when he does that step back, the little side step. I don't know. I haven't seen him like on a consistent basis shoot that step back on the left side off his right foot. So that's something I was like I've been noticing too. But yeah, Dame is the clutchest player in the league right now. Honestly, if you were to ask me this a couple of years ago, I'd probably say Kevin Durant or Kyrie, but Dame takes the title.
You were saying about the record he broke. He was close to breaking some other records. Well, it's 14 threes in a game for like the all-time record, and he was 2 away from that. He was 8 points off of Jordan's playoff record.
62.
I think if McCollum didn't step out and Dame hit that 3, which I would have to imagine he would with how he was playing, and they went to a triple overtime, we could have been seeing a new playoff points record.
Mm-hmm.
But with all of what Dame did, the Nuggets still won, and you got to give them all the credit. They stood in there. They had a huge lead in the beginning, and then they lost it, but they stayed in. Jokic again had a crazy game. And there was that one play in double overtime, I think, when he was on one side, Aaron Gordon cuts, and it looks like he's throwing it to Aaron Gordon. It goes over the top to MPJ, and then he drained the three. And that was kind of the turning point of the second overtime. And he's the MVP. He's just so good.
Yeah, as you said, Jokic, he almost had a triple-double, 1 assist shy again. So he continues to do what he's been doing all season. But, I mean, the supporting cast of this team has just been really great to see. I mean, with all the injuries we talked about last time and seeing all those guys go down, to see this team continue to thrive, it's been crazy. I mean, MPJ with 26 points last night had a great night shooting from the field. Rivers is playing great. And, Aaron Gordon, all those guys. Campazzo's a great defender. You've got all these guys who are contributing, and on the other hand, you have Lillard, who is basically willing his team to stay in the game. And honestly, I think the Blazers should have won with the way he was performing. But after that, it's hard to imagine that the Blazers are going to be able to pull this out, because it's just the whole series has been as back and forth as it has been. The Nuggets have shown to be the better team, and Dame just needs a little more help to get over this hump. I'm not saying it's over, and I still think this is going to go to 7. I believe I said that last time. I think this is still going to go to 7, but the Nuggets look good right now, and I wouldn't put it past them to win it in 6.
So let me ask you guys. I have 2 questions. So one, we know he's all right. We asked already if he's the clutchest player, and it was a consensus yes. Is he the best point guard in the NBA?
No way. No
I
way.
think it's still Curry.
It's still Curry. Yeah. I saw a lot of comments and on Instagram last night, a lot of people saying that Dame is the best. You can put him up there. He can be top 3, top 2, wherever you want to put him, yeah. But I still think you got to go Curry, and I think there's still a big margin just because it's Steph Curry, man. What you don't think so?
Those shots too, though. Lillard can make those shots too.
He can. It's just
logo Lillard. It's a 1A 1B thing for me. It's a 1A 1B.
Yeah, it's the two of them.
It's definitely both of them. But all right, now how we're talking about supporting cast. Do you think Dame needs to leave Portland in order to contend for a championship?
I don't think so, actually, which I think is a shock, because I think a lot of people think he does, but I think he actually has a good supporting cast. And especially with the Norman Powell edition, they kind of have a niche where they just attack you with 3 guards that can just score from anywhere. And then if Melo's hitting his shots, I think they go up 3 tiers, and they're just so much better. And Nurkic, I think if Nurkic doesn't foul out the next 2 games, I think it'll be much more interesting, because both of the games he's fouled out, the Nuggets have won, because then they have to put Covington on Jokic. So I don't know if they'll win it this year, but I think they could contend.
I don't know. I feel like the window is kind of closing for them. But you know what? They have good young talent. Anthony Simons has shown he's really good for the Blazers. And the only reason I don't think he can win in Portland isn't because of his team. I agree that the supporting cast around him is actually a lot better than most people will give it credit for. I think it is still a good team. And CJ McCollum is still an all-star caliber level player. He's still very good. But it's not so much the fact that Portland isn't a good team. It's that there's so many other better teams in the NBA. And that's not their fault, but I feel like there's levels to it. And Portland, I think in today's NBA, you have to have another superstar on that team to be considered a contender. Dame has obviously taken this team to great heights, but I think they need one more, and that's just because of the competition they have. There's so much going on, but you never know. The NBA has never ceased to surprise us, and if they are able to pull it out this series, who knows what they can pull out next round against soon to be the winner of Lakers Suns.
Yeah, I only asked that question because the supporting cast I think is there as well, but in big time moments they haven't been showing up. And yesterday was another testament to that. The Lillard, I think, only Cantor was the only one who scored in the 2 overtimes, and that was just on a putback. All the other points were all by Lillard.
Oh,
You got to think about the Robert Covington cut when Lillard drove in,
Yeah,
dunk right there or a layup.
missed it.
I think it comes to those little things that he does. I think he does need to leave in a sense, but I know the pride in him doesn't want to.
I like that he wants to stay in Portland. I like that. Like, I like the loyalty.
He's original. But going on to our next topic, it's going to be the Celtics and the Nets. So the big three got past their first test together, and in 5 games. Who do you think was the X factor in that? Because we know what the big three are going to do, but who do you think else stepped up their game?
I don't know if anyone else even needed to step up their game, honestly.
I don't know.
I think once Jaylen Brown went out for the season, the series was pretty much over. The Nets, even though sometimes they look dysfunctional, they don't really have a plan always. They just have too much firepower.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, there's so many weapons you have on that Nets team outside of the big three. You could give it to a lot of guys. I think you'd probably give it to Joe Harris, maybe Blake Griffin, but I think Joe Harris. But for me, I would say, even though he's part of the big three, I would say the X factor was James Harden for me, even though he's part of that big three. I think the way he played offensively, I mean, when you started watching the game, like, he was just getting to the rim with ease. Like, he made it look too easy. I don't know if that was bad defense by the Celtics or just another testament to how good James Harden has been this year. But, and in game 3, he had 18 assists and 24 points or something. The guy's been all over the place. He's orchestrating the offense well. He shot well. I think James Harden was honestly their best player in the first round. I thought he was Brooklyn's X factor. I think a lot of people forgot that, this three-headed monster has so many levels to it, and James Harden showed why he's a top 7, top 10 player in that series. So I'd probably go with Harden, but yeah, I mean, you can go anywhere. Kyrie was great. Durant's averaging the most points in the playoffs. There's a lot of talent on that team.
Honestly, I would say it had to be Joe Harris, honestly, because he did space the floor. You have to take it. You have to. I see the kind of how the Celtics had a big four with Rondo also in there. You kind of have to put Joe Harris in there because he's a weapon in himself.
I like that.
Shoot the ball lights out. He's starting to become a playmaker too, because we saw him make some good passes in this series. And also another person that came to mind was Nicholas Claxton. I want to say that's his name.
Yeah, Claxton.
Getting rebounds, being tenacious, bringing energy, defense. He's doing the little things for them. Because like I said, we already know what the big three are going to do. It's about what the others are going to do. Because that's also what wins championships.
Do you guys think that the Bucks can beat the Nets? Because my hot take, I think Bucks are going to the finals. I like the Bucks this year. That's my hot take.
So you're siding with Chuck?
I'm siding with Chuck. He's got to be right sometime. He's got to be. But Drew Holiday changes them completely, I think. They have an actual big three now. And I think their one-on-one defending against the Nets is like perfect for because they have Holiday for Kyrie. They can throw Middleton. I think them missing DiVincenzo is bad. Like, that's tough, but they have Middleton and Giannis that can guard Durant and Harden. I think it's going to be a fight.
PJ Tucker in there. Yeah. He can defend.
They do have PJ Tucker. I like the Bucks.
It's all going to depend how they defend Giannis and if Giannis can make perimeter shots. If Giannis can make that turn-away, fadeaway, or at least a mid-range pull-up, it's going to make them that much scary because they need to because it's going to open up the holes, especially because if you notice the last couple of playoffs, teams have been playing Giannis by just creating a wall. So I think if he can make those shots, he'll be good.
Here's my thing. I think the defensive difference between the Heat and Brooklyn is big. Obviously, Kevin Durant's an elite defender, but I don't think it's the same thing as having Bam Adebayo in your paint to fend him off and make those inside shots tough, because that's where Giannis thrives. And he's not a horrible perimeter shooter, but when you limit him to just shooting on the perimeter, his productivity is limited. So I think Giannis is going to have a great series. And I think they said it last night on NBA TV. This is going to be must-watch TV. It's probably going to be, in my opinion, so far the best series of the playoffs so far. And I'll say this. I think out of any team in the East, I think last podcast I said the Sixers, but I'm gonna backtrack on that. Just for the defensive reasons, I think Milwaukee has the best chance out of anybody in the East to knock off Brooklyn. Do I think they'll do it? Probably not, just because I feel like the big three has finally looked like they know how to play together, and they look really good. I mean, 3 of these 5 games against the Celtics were blowouts. So that's just, it's a testament to how good they are. But, if, like you said, Michael, if Drew Holiday can play good defense on Kyrie, which I think he absolutely can, Chris Middleton, or you throw PJ Tucker in at Harden, and then you've got the D-boy and Giannis on Kevin Durant, you really have a chance. I mean, you take one of those guys out of the game completely, and it's a whole different matchup. So the Bucks have a good chance, and I think their defense alone separates them.
I got it. No, go ahead, Jesse. You're good.
I would say that with the whole defensive stuff like that, I would actually put Giannis on James Harden and have Middleton guard Kevin Durant, because Harden is the one who mainly holds the ball. I want a big, solid, mobile defender on him at all times, lengthwise, strength-wise. I think that's where I would go if I was Budenholzer.
I like that. So before we go into today's games, we got some news from the Celtics. Danny Ainge is retiring, and Brad Stevens is taking his position. So they have a coaching vacancy. The reports are looking at Lloyd Pierce and Jason Kidd. Really quick, do you guys think one of them is going to be the coach, or is it going to be someone else?
It's tough. I don't even know. I don't even know who to say. I don't think you can say Lloyd Pierce or Jason Kidd, because, I mean, Lloyd Pierce this year wasn't great, obviously, with the Hawks. He had a bad start, obviously, to a team that should have been a lot better than they were at the start of the season. Jason Kidd obviously didn't have the best tenure when he was coaching, but besides them, I'm not really sure who you can come in and get to coach those guys. But this was interesting, honestly. I think a lot of people have been speculating that this would happen, but not now. But Ainge just stepped down. His tenure as the GM was, it's really up to perspective whether you thought he was great or whether you thought he was too safe and made mistakes. But Brad Stevens, obviously a great coach. It's going to be interesting to see him in that position now. But I don't know. It's hard to say who's going to really come in. I can't say a name for sure right now.
If I had to choose between the two, I would honestly give it to Jason Kidd, just because Lloyd Pierce. If you look at the load of work that he did in Atlanta with young players, it really didn't go far. And what the Celtics are, they're not entirely that young team no more, but they are in a sense. But they need someone to take them to the next step. Then you have Jason Kidd, who won a championship with the Lakers staff last season. He's coached veterans in Brooklyn when he first started. He had Giannis back in Milwaukee. I feel like, and also he's a Hall of Famer, former All NBA. I think he just fits the mold better, honestly, than Lloyd Pierce. Between the two, I would give it to Jason Kidd. That we might take. And then so now we're done with today's great wild news. Let's go to the games previews. So we got the Wizards and the Sixers in Game 5 today. And Embiid, I believe Embiid's not gonna play tonight due to
he's out.
Oh. Wow.
What do you guys think about that? And how is this gonna affect? How do you think it's gonna affect the Sixers down the line?
I think this has always been the worry for the Sixers, that Embiid is a beast when he plays, but he just misses a lot. But I think this can be a game. This can be like the Tobias Harris game, and he can kind of show that he still has it because he hasn't been needed as much in this series. I think even if the Wizards win this game, I think the Sixers will still. I mean, they were up 3-0, so they're going to win the series. But I would take the Sixers in this one with Tobias Harris having a big game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm also going to go Sixers tonight. Obviously, not having Embiid's a big hit for the Sixers, but even without him, the Sixers are by far a better team than the Wizards. They just have a lot more depth, and Tobias Harris has shown that he can be the number one scoring option at times. Yeah, he had almost 30 the other day in the first half, so he can go out there. He's played at an all-star level this year, and you still have Simmons who can at times look good offensively, and obviously you don't have to question his impact defensively. So I'm going to go Sixers. I think they end it tonight, and I think they'll be moving on after this.
Yeah, the Wizards took a big blow because they lost Dallas. I don't know his first name.
Davis Bertans.
Yeah, they lost him for the series and the season. I think he tore something in his leg or something. But that's a big blow, and I think that's not saying that it's more significant than the Embiid injury because Embiid was an MVP type of player, but I think it just takes another weapon away from already the kind of like shorthanded Wizards in a sense. So I think that's gonna help the Sixers in a way much more than it would the Wizards.
So now we got the Knicks-Hawks game, the 4-5 in the East. Do you guys think the Knicks have any chance stealing one after Trae Young has just kind of taken over the series, become the villain of New York?
I think the Knicks are actually going to win tonight. If that's a hot take, you know what? That's my hot take for today. I didn't really have one, but that's my hot take. I know nobody is looking for New York tonight to win, but I think they're going to show up. I can't imagine that Julius Randle is going to keep playing as bad as he's been playing because he has looked pretty bad.
Terrible.
It's been disappointing to see after he's won MIP. So I think he's going to have a big game tonight. Derrick Rose, obviously, you don't have to question what he's been doing in the playoffs. I think he's going to show up. Barrett, the rest of those guys. MSG is going to be loud tonight, and I'm still excited. The series has been too fun, honestly, for me. I don't want it to end at 5. I don't think it's going to end in 5, so I'm going to go Knicks tonight. I guess that's my hot take for today because not a lot of people have faith in the Knicks today, but I think they've got a good shot. I think they'll show something.
The Knicks are done. It's over today. It's over. Trae Young gonna have the Reggie Miller moment. Spike Lee, all the cameras will be on Spike Lee after the game's done. I can't see them coming back. Honestly, I can't see them winning at all today. I think Trae Young's gonna have a big time performance because he smells blood in the water. Honestly, is what it is. That's how we're gonna say it. And it's over. Julius Randle hadn't come through entirely the series. Derrick Rose has been putting up big numbers. Alec Burks has, Emmanuel quickly, but I think today Gallinari's going to come big, and I think also Bogdanovich is going to come big. That three-headed monster of Bogdanovich, Gallinari, and Trae Young is going to be too much for them. But if they do lose, would you call the season for the Knicks a success?
I think you have to. Mm-hmm. They weren't expected to do anything, and they were are they the 4th seed or the 5th seed? The fifth seed. Oh, 4th. Yeah, even. I mean, come on, you didn't expect the Knicks to be in the playoffs.
No, not at all. And when the Knicks signed Julius Randle, they were kind of clowned for it because they were expected to get like Kyrie or KD that offseason. So his progression this year, Barrett's progression, which has been also huge. There's so many guys on that team that have stepped up and looked so good. The Knicks weren't projected to make the playoffs. They were ranked 14th in the East before the season started. So not just be in the playoffs, but to be as good as they were behind Tibbs and, to be just back in the playoffs for the first time since 2013 and to come out with a win, at least in one game, I think you have to consider it a success. Obviously, you would have liked to go farther than the first round because they were favored to beat the Hawks. So this series is a little disappointing for them, but overall, if you're a Knicks fan, the future is bright, and you've got a lot of young talent. I wouldn't use disappointing, but it's upsetting to lose in the first round. But you've got to be happy with where your franchise is going if you are a Knicks fan. Lots of good stuff to take away from this season.
I think this makes it a destination to come over, honestly.
Yeah.
The Knicks are proving that they can win, that the culture is back, and I think they have a chance, honestly, to make a splash in free agency for the years to come. But back to Atlanta, should they win today, can you guys see them as a dark horse, like down the stretch?
Not me. I don't think they get past Philly.
Not even Embiid?
I don't think so. I mean, they'll have Capella to guard him, but I think Simmons will show that he can just kind of shut down Trae Young because he's just so long, and I don't think Trae's really ready. Or I mean, he's ready, but he won't be expecting like how tenacious Simmons will be. So I think the Sixers will maybe 5 games, 5 or 6.
Yeah. Obviously, there's no questioning how good Trae Young is offensively, but you have Ben Simmons, who was a DPOY candidate this year, and he's just about as good of an on-ball defender in the league. Arguably the best on-ball defender if you want to go there. I mean, he's got the size. He's got 7 or 8 inches on Trae Young. He's a huge defensive mismatch for him. I still think Trae Young will have a decent series, but it's going to be tough because Embiid should probably be back by the time the series comes around, assuming the Hawks do win. So you've got Embiid in the paint, who was at one point also a DPOY candidate. So it's top to bottom. This team is really good defensively, and Trae's size may be a problem for him, but I don't know. I think the Sixers would take this one pretty easily, but the Hawks are no pushovers. I would say probably I'd go Sixers in 6. I'll give Hawks the benefit of the doubt. I'll go Sixers in 6, probably 5, but I'll go 6.
So now we got the Jazz and the Grizzlies tonight, which is another shutout game that the Jazz can do. Do you guys think they're going to be able to close the door today, or is Ja Morant and the young Grizzlies going to find a way to win? Because they should have, honestly, they had all the opportunities to win last game.
Yeah, they did. I think it's over tonight. I think Jazz kind of show their dominance as they've been doing the past 3 games. Yeah, I like the Jazz.
Yeah, there's a reason they're the number 1 seed in the West. And, you know, like you said, I'm a huge momentum guy. I think momentum is really big, not just in games, but for series. And when you have that kind of performance where you're up and you have your chance to close out on a team and even the series at 2-2, and then you don't execute at the end, it's tough. Mentally, because basketball, as we all know, it's not just a technical game. It's a mental thing too. So having that kind of loss is going to be tough for them to recover. But I expect Ja Morant to come out and have a great game. He's obviously been amazing. I think Dylan Brooks will play good as well. But since Donovan Mitchell has come back, they've looked like a different team, obviously. So much better. And I don't think they're going to win either. I'm pretty sure the Jazz are just going to come in and close this out tonight. But I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a pretty good game for a while. But I think the Jazz will get a convincing win tonight and move on to the next round.
I think so too. I think the Jazz are going to shut it out tonight. They're back at home. The fans are going to be crazy. They're going to go back to the second round since I want to say Donovan Mitchell's rookie year. It's going to be a wild one. I think it's over. Mike Conley beats his former team. The torch is still the symbolic torch. I don't think it's passed yet from Conley to Ja Morant, in the sense that Conley did take him further when he was there at his time, but it's not going. It's over tonight.
I'd have to agree.
Then we got our last game. We got Pravat's Mavs against the Los Angeles Clippers. So can Luka Dallas come back after losing the last 2?
No, it's done. It hurts to say it, but it's done. Here's my thing. My whole thing was you got the 2-0 series lead in Los Angeles, right? That's huge. my whole thing was we didn't win game 3, which hurt, honestly, but my whole thing was you just have to win one at home. And I said before game 4 that whoever wins game 4 is going to end up winning the series, because when you have the 3-1 lead, you have the momentum with you. You're going back to LA, and most teams can't come back from 3-1, even though we've seen it a lot more in recent years. But the Clippers, they didn't just come in and, game 3, it was close, but they pulled it out at the end and pulled away. Game 4 was just embarrassing. Being there in person was painful, seeing my team get destroyed in front of my own eyes. So it hurt. I don't think we have any chance now, and it doesn't help that Luka's neck is, straining so badly. Rick Carlisle said at the end of the game, Luka couldn't even look left. It hurt him too much. So he has to be better for them, or physically, obviously, with his injury. He's been great this series, but it showed that when he's injured, he can't play at the same rate he was. It obviously affected his game. I don't know. I just think the momentum has completely shifted, and I would be really shocked if they won tonight, but I think it's going to be Clips in 6, unfortunately. It hurts.
I would have to take the Clippers too. I think it's kind of just Luka versus the whole Clippers team at this point. Porzingis hasn't really done – he's kind of taken a step down, I think, in how he's been playing. PG has actually looked like an actual player in the playoffs. I think he's actually doing stuff, which is rare for him. So I think if Dallas want to win, I think Porzingis has to be huge tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I think Porzingis does. I think the Mavs do pull it off tonight, and in a shocker, honestly. I think Porzingis is going to build off what he did in last performance in Game 4, 17 points, because if you really look at it, Porzingis was like one of the main consistent ones for Dallas last game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to build upon that. He's going to build some confidence. Luka, the whole situation with Luka, I'm not sure how his neck is going to be at the end, but we're going to find out. The real ballers always come out when you need them most. And Luka has been coming through for Dallas in his short career. So hopefully he gets to come through for them again. But my last question for you guys, and you guys maybe have answered it already, but who needs this win more, like in the long run, the Mavericks or the Clippers?
I think if you look past just this series, I think the Clippers need it, because I think they need to kind of show that they're the better team, because they've been challenged. But to just win this series, obviously it's the Mavs need it because they have no momentum. But for the longevity of this roster for the Clippers, like for Kawhi staying, they need to win this. They need to end the Mavs in 6 and just get to the next one.
Yeah. I think if we're looking at down the road, it could honestly go either way, but I think the Clippers, as you said, they are the better team. And if they want to show that they're, that touted team to be one of the 2 best, 3 best teams in the West, then they need to play like it. And that's going to be on display tonight, based on how they perform. So if they want this, I think this game is a lot bigger than just the series. I think tonight defines for both teams how the rest of their playoff runs are going to go. So obviously the biggest game of the season for both of them. For the long run, I'm going to say Clippers. But, for this young Mavericks team, it's big too, because if they can come into LA again and win, then it says a lot about their future. And I hope, obviously, that they are the ones. So I'm going to say Mavericks. I think for their future, not just this playoffs, but in the ultimate long run, the Mavericks are going to look back on this one and say, if they can win this one, it's going to be big for them and their confidence.
All right, nice. So that's going to wrap up our show today, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and see you guys next episode.
Yeah.
Later, guys.